Welcome aboard the Ear to There podcast, the podcast that'll help you vacation like a pro in any Disney destination. For those of you standing, please sit down and hold on throughout our journey and get ready to learn how to have the time of your life. And now, here's your host, Phil Gramlich.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Ear to There podcast. I'm your host, Phil Gramlich. I'm also the owner and operator of Ear to There Travel, which is a Disney specialized travel agency. It's my job to take away the stress and the anxiety of planning a Disney trip so you can focus on the fun things like having a great time with your friends and family and enjoying the magic. I also want to save you a lot of time. It takes an awful lot of time to plan a Disney trip, especially if you haven't done it in a long time. I plan these trips every single day. I don't charge a fee, and I want you to have the same exact trip that I would have if I went to Walt Disney World. You can find this podcast, my blog, or request a free quote over at eartotheretravel.com. This is episode number 30. Wow, 30. We've made 30 episodes already. That's pretty awesome. So it's episode number 30 for the week of August 22nd, 2016. So grab a drink, grab a snack, and as a famous mouse once said, on with the show. A vacation to Walt Disney World is a trip that so many people save for a long, long time. You have to factor in things like airfare or gas money, hotels along the way, your hotel stay at Walt Disney World, dining plans, tickets, and much, much more. So once all of that stuff is taken care of and paid for, what else is there to spend money on? Well, if you're like me and you've been to the parks a bunch of times, it just might be time for a splurge. See, Walt Disney World offers many, many once-in-a-lifetime type experiences. And this week we're going to bring you a few of those in our top splurges in Walt Disney World. Joining me to talk about what he would splurge on in Walt Disney World is a frequent guest on the show. He's an annual pass holder who's in the parks a few times each week with his wife and kids, and he's no stranger to splurging on things like caviar, cases of champagne, and diamond watches. Mr. Johnny Shortsleeve, welcome back to the show.
How do you get all this intel on me, man? Like, I'm actually wearing 3 diamond watches right now. I don't have the video on, do I?
Yeah, right.
Good golly.
I can access your little camera on your computer there.
Jeez, man. It's NSA going on here. It's spying on me.
I've been to the parks with you with your watches and your rings. I know how you roll around Walt Disney World.
I like to make a statement. I mean, what are you going to say?
All right, man. So thanks again for doing this with me. I appreciate it. These are things that I think we're going to talk about tonight are things that you probably wouldn't do on obviously every trip because some of them are a little pricey, at least on my list. Some of them are kind of pricey. And so for me, the things that like once in a while or even a couple of them might be like once in a lifetime types of special events and things that you might want to splurge on Walt Disney World. I don't know. I think that's kind of the way you went at it a different way, right?
Yeah, so I took my list and said, I've done a handful of things that I would say are really special event kind of, you definitely don't want to do this every single time if you're traveling here on vacation. And the ones that I liked and said, this is going to go on the list. And there's a handful that I have done that I would say, you know what, one and done, that's it. I can say that I did check the box. That's all. And I didn't put those on the list. These would be the repeatable ones.
All right, cool. Yeah, see, mine are a little different. So I'm kind of interested in seeing how this will shake out. I always wanted to book one of those Lou Mangello private tours, but they're way too expensive and out of my league, so I won't be able to do one of those. I just wanted to put that out there to see if you listen to the show one of these times. All right, so how about we'll get started with you. You want to kick it off with your first one?
Yeah, and I'm going to have to throw a disclaimer on this first one. I've done it before. I would do it again in a heartbeat, but I've only done it once, and I did it for free because I've got a really awesome friend who hooked me up with this. So the first thing on my list is the chef's table at Victorian Alberts.
That was my first one.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
This is the second time I've done that. I've totally poached your list right
cool.
out the gate.
That's cool. You go, and I'll chime in at the end.
Yeah. Okay. Well, sorry about that. I apologize.
No. That's why we do it. That's why we don't talk about it beforehand.
Man. So, all right. Well, let me tell you, this was one of the best meals I've ever had in my life. The neat thing, if you haven't heard about this, I'll give you a quick overview. So Victorian Alberts is a super high-end restaurant that's in Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa Hotel, whatever the official name is. And that restaurant in and of itself is insane, like a AAA 5 diamond, whatever the rating is that they get consistently every year. One of the best restaurants in Florida. It's up there. But the chef's table, that's like next level, because what they do is they have a little tiny alcove inside the kitchen with a table where you and your guests will have basically a private meal back there in the kitchen while you're watching the chefs prepare the meal for the service. You kind of get ushered through the dining room and back through the kitchen. You get to talk to everybody. Chef Scott Hunnell, which I think now is officially like the head of culinary for all of the resort in Grand Floridian, instead of just Victorian Alberts. But I've seen this guy on TV for years. I read about him and all the stuff that, when he gets a new award, he always gets written up. He was back there that night just doing his thing. I was thinking, wow, he's like really in the mix. He was on the line cooking, and he was, doling out all the commands. And it wasn't like, I was expecting, like Gordon Ramsay, like people are going to be throwing knives at each other.
Cursing and yelling.
Yeah, like just fist fights breaking out. No, it was so calm back there. They were so calm and relaxed, and I thought, you know what? It's good that they're that way, because if you're gonna have a table back there and for the price, you kind of want to have it be a little serene and relaxed. You don't want to see all those shenanigans going on like you would see on TV, like with Gordon Ramsay and all that kind of stuff. The food was just out of control. Like you couldn't even imagine. Like if you said, come up with the craziest thing you come up with, take that and then exponentially blow it out. It was insane, insanely good. And here's the thing though. I was talking to Chef Scott during the meal. And I said, you kind of ruined food for me, man. Like now I'm going to go home and eat something. I'm like, oh, this is dog food compared to when I ate it in Victorian Alberts.
Going home and eating your easy cheese on a cracker.
Yeah, I was like, what do you do now? Where do you go from here? And he's like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that, but this is an experience that I would recommend over and over if you have the scratch to do this. I don't want to say what the price is, because the prices can change, and I don't want to lock and get someone, but it's pricey. And it's hard to get too. You have to really be kind of lucky, because it's one table,
right, and
it's booked up every night that they offer it. So you have to be really lucky on getting your timing right. I would hands down do it over again. I can't wait till the next time I can do it. So that's number one on my list. Chef's Table at Victorian Alberts.
Yeah, it will set you back a couple of Benjamins. Do kids still say Benjamins?
Yeah, more than a couple. Some dead presidents. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, and yeah, it is a little expensive. It starts, like you said, I'm not even going to mention the price, but it's fancy. It's really cool. It's got one of the places that has a dress code. Men have to wear a jacket and tie in there. That's probably why I'm never going to go.
Yeah, and
I'm a t-shirt and khaki shorts kind of guy. Now, actually, I would love to try it. It's one that I have to get to do. Maybe Disney higher ups, if you're listening to my podcast, and I know you are, you'll offer me a little freebie when I'm down there next time.
And you're a coffee guy, right? I think, yeah. So they have the craziest coffee service I've ever seen there, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but if you're a coffee person, it's just almost worth it to go to the experience the coffee service there after the dinner. I mean, it is an amazing experience, start to finish.
Very cool. Yeah, I got it. That's one that's on my list. That's on my bucket list. So I got to try that out one of these times.
Yeah, man.
All right, so over to me for my first one, and I am going to. I want to start with this one. So staying at the Bungalows at Disney's Polynesian Resort, or Disney's Polynesian Village Resort and Bungalows. Is that what the official title is now?
Dude, I don't know. It's too long.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
But so here's the thing with this one, right? When they started building them, all you heard was people complaining. It's going to ruin our view of the fireworks. It's going to ruin, the look of the beach. It's going to, blah blah blah. You know what? The only people that say that are the people that can't afford to stay in those bungalows, which is pretty much everyone. But Those are, if you've ever seen the inside of one, they are amazing. They're on the water. They're very, very cool. They're also super expensive, but amazingly, they're always booked. Like, they're booked. I've had a few clients ask me to look at prices for them, and I have. And when I get back to them on the prices, they're like, "You have to be kidding me! That's what the price is per night." And it is, and it's. I'm not. Again, we're not going to talk about prices. If you want to do it, look it up. It might be really worth it for you, because for me, it's one of the most unique places you're going to stay anywhere in Walt Disney World. I mean, you're basically, it's like almost like a Polynesian, it reminds me of like Fiji or something, staying on the water. But you're staying, you actually are sleeping like over the water. You're on the beach. It's just a really, really cool place to stay. And you're at the Polynesian, so you can take advantage of all the restaurants there and, the Trader Sam's and everything they have to offer. So for me, that's one that I would definitely want to splurge on. The Bungalows at Disney's Polynesian Village and Bungalows Resort. I was trying to get it right. I think I got it right that time.
There you go. Yeah, with the fireworks thing. So I actually have been in the Hawaii Longhouse since they've been since those bungalows have been in place. And I was on the second floor. So there's 3 floors in those longhouses, and I could see just fine from the second floor. So I think it's really the ground floor rooms are the ones that are kind of affected. But again, the fireworks are going up, a few hundred feet in the air. So those bungalows are only 1 story. So I understand why people are complaining. But you're absolutely right, Phil. Those bungalows are amazing, and they are definitely something that, it could be a situation where you say, oh, you know what, I'm having a little sticker shock. I want to come down for a week. Maybe that's a little too much for a week. Maybe it's a lot too much for a week. Yeah. But you know what? Maybe we just do 2 nights there and just go nuts. 2 nights, and we just hole up in that place and just enjoy all the amenities within. And because there's also some amenities that, again, I don't want to say it now because then it'll change. Some amenities that are available to you as a guest in one of the bungalows. So you can kind of just say, you know what, I'm not gonna spend money on tickets for those 2 days that we're there. We're just gonna enjoy the room and the property. Maybe that's a way to do it.
And Disney makes it really easy to change rooms too. If you wanted to do that for a couple of nights, and then you wanted to stay somewhere else at the Poly, or if you wanted to stay at a different resort, they'll move your luggage for you during the day. They're very, very accommodating when it comes to something like that. So
yeah, and I've done that before too. I can speak from experience. Yeah, they are good with that.
Yeah, resort jumping during your stay. It's a cool way to do it too, because then not only if you wanted to stay at a luxury, if you wanted to stay at a deluxe resort, but don't want to stay there the entire trip, you want to save a little money. Stay at a moderate, or stay at a value the rest of the time, and do a couple of nights at one of the deluxes, and then move. You get the best of both worlds. It's really easy to do. So yeah, Disney, and like I said, Disney wants you to stay there, so they're going to make it as easy as possible for you to do it. So, yeah, I think if you have the money and you can afford to do something like this, stay at the bungalows for a night or 2, or if you can afford for your honeymoon or something, that would be the ultimate. I mean, I wish they were there when my wife and I went on our honeymoon. We ended up in Disneyland and in Hawaii, which I got sick anyway, so I didn't get to enjoy Hawaii. So the next time we're talking about going to Hawaii, I'm gonna. Yeah, but I get sick every time I go somewhere. Went to the marathon weekend. I got the flu. I couldn't run.
It's all in your head, man, because you're going, and that's when your body says, "All right, vacation. I'm going to shut the old immune system down." That's why you need to have your wife just like throw a sack over your head and kidnap you and throw you in the car to the airport, so when you don't expect it.
It's like when you take the dog to the vet.
Oh, geez, man, that took a dark turn.
I don't mean it. I just mean because when I had a dog, I had a boxer, and this is going off on a complete tangent, but he used to be so afraid of the vet, and for some reason he knew. Like when I would look at him, I swear, I would look at him to take him to the vet for a checkup, and he would know, and he would freak out. And I had him in the car all the time, so it wasn't just a car, but he knew. I don't know. Dogs know that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's a really strange turn to just talk. So on to you for your next one.
Well, let me tell you what, man. It's funny you picked that for your first, because my second one I think really dovetails nicely into the one that you just mentioned. The second one I have on my list is to splurge on getting a club level room at one of the deluxe resorts.
Very cool.
Now, so at the deluxe resorts, just staying in one of the standard rooms is an amazing experience. So don't get me wrong here. They're fantastic properties, lots of cool things to do on property. Then obviously you have the theme parks and all that kind of cool stuff. But within in each property, you can kind of have a choice in terms of the type of room you can choose. And a lot of that's driven on maybe the location of the room or the view that you get or some of the ancillary services that they offer. And kind of all that gets wrapped up into one nice package with the club level, which used to be called concierge. These are the rooms that might have the nicest view, the best location on the property. I personally have stayed in club level rooms at the Polynesian and the Wilderness Lodge, and I would do it again in a heartbeat because I'm the kind of person who, if I'm staying, like now it's tough because I'm here and I'm an Orlando local, but when I do stay on property, I just want to enjoy the resort, and I do enjoy the amenities that come from the club level. Like for example, one of the things that I enjoy is they have like a little continental breakfast, and each one's different, so it's not the same in terms of like if you see the one that's offered at the Polynesian and compared to the one that's Wilderness Lodge, they're totally different. They usually have like a little snack in the afternoon that's out there, and then at dinner time they have these little hors d'oeuvres and usually some adult beverages like beer and wine, cocktails, things like that. Nighttime, toward the evening, they usually have some cordials, like some little tiny like petit four, like small desserts, and some liqueurs and things like that are out to just enjoy. Not to say that you do that for the food, but it's just a neat little perk. So you can just kind of go hang out. If you're somebody who doesn't want to go out and get a massive breakfast to kind of weigh you down when you're cruising through the parks, that's what I used to do all the time with the family, is just to go to that little, the continental breakfast. I don't know. I'm sure they don't call it that. It sounds like something you see like the Holiday Inn or something.
I forget what they call it, but yeah, I don't think it's continental.
Yeah. So, but it's a light breakfast with some fruit and some things that aren't going to weigh you down and kind of get you going though.
Oh, wait, I just looked it up. They do call it continental.
Oh, how about that?
Yep.
I've got something right. No fact checking here. So, and there's also some, the rooms might have some extra amenities, like in terms of Turndown Services, and there's also some availability of having a staff of people that will help you with your planning if you haven't used, a travel agent, like Phil, to do some of the plan. Exactly. So, doing some things that are, which is good. Like, especially if you want to kind of change something on the fly, you would just walk over to their little office or little kiosk area and they'll do it for you. So, and that's fun. Plus, when you get the cool views, like the Polynesian has some awesome views, as well as the Contemporary and the Grand Floridian, some awesome views of Seven Seas Lagoon and the Magic Kingdom. Wilderness Lodge has some really cool views of Bay Lake, and even some of the rooms you can see from the top, Cinderella's Castle. So that's a fun splurge for me. The club level rooms.
Yeah, man, I 100% agree with you. I love the club level, and the only one I've actually gotten to experience is the Wilderness Lodge, and I just thought that was just really awesome. I had a cast member friend who kind of hooked me up with one of those rooms when we came down once, and it's cool. We had the bunk beds for the kids at the Wilderness Lodge there, which is really cool. In the club level, they have those other places too, but and just like you said, the continental breakfast in the morning is great, and it's where they have all of that in the Wilderness Lodge is up high and like kind of like the rafters, and then you have your private, like almost like a cocktail hour. I forget what hours that was, but let me see. Yeah, 5 to 7 p.m. is when they do that, and I remember sitting up there, and I am, when it comes to heights, I'm kind of a wimp. I just don't like heights at all. Mm-hmm. And we were up there with our kids, and they're running around up there, and there's, you're like, 8, 9 stories up, and there's a little fence there, and they're standing on the chairs with the fence. It's like, up to my chest, and man, I remember I'm like against the wall across, and I'm yelling at my kids like, "Don't go near there!" Like, so.
Dude, and doing that from seeing that view at the Wilderness Lodge specifically at Christmas time, I did that once. And they have that massive Christmas tree there. Like the Christmas at the Wilderness Lodge is fantastic. I don't want to jump into a different topic.
No, you're right though. You're so right about that.
Yeah.
But the club level rooms are great. They have all that, everything that you said. But it's funny that my one memory of it is being terrified that my kids were going near the fence at the Wilderness Lodge. But if you have the chance to book something like that, it's so cool. And like you said, they make it super easy. Disney, they send out a packet for you to fill out months in advance for all your preferences for if you have any like food allergies or when you like to eat, and then they're served. The people that work. That's why I guess it used to be called concierge level. They offer that concierge level service and planning when you stay in those rooms.
And one of the things too that's kind of a neat perk is that when you arrive at the resort and there's the bellman or there's the valets there, and you tell them, hey, we're checking in, we have a club level room. They'll take you right up there. Yeah. They won't have you stand in line with everyone else at the main front desk area. They'll have somebody come up and take you right up to that area where you'll do your check-in up there.
Yeah, you're not standing amongst the common people.
No, the peasants. Yeah, no. Which is cool because if you're coming on a busy time of year and you and your family and your friends or whoever you're traveling with is all amped up, and you see that massive line, that's like the most anxious thing. Yeah. Like, oh, hurry, stop asking questions, hurry, get your key and go. No, you roll on up there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a nice perk. I take my bags, sir. Get your bags for you. Unless you did Magical Express and then the bags aren't there yet. But we have to do club level again. It's very cool. Yeah. All right, so my next one, I have a list, so I'm kind of looking and see where we want to go. All right, so I'm going to go with the Backstage Magic Tour. So Disney offers all these tours, and you can get a whole bunch of different ones. And the Backstage Magic Tour is it's the one that goes to all 4 Disney theme parks, which I think is really, really cool because you get to go backstage, just like the name of the tour would say. You get to go backstage and see how a little bit of the magic is made, which is really, really cool. Now, if you're one of those people that doesn't like spoilers, I would say this might not be for you if you don't want to see how things are done, because you get to see a lot of stuff back there. You get to go underground in the utilidors, which is really cool. If you don't know, for those of you who don't know what utilidors are, because it's kind of a weird word, they're the tunnels that are underneath the Magic Kingdom. You even get to you get to meet one of the guides at the Wild Africa Trek, so you get to kind of have a little sit down with them. You get behind the scenes at Tower of Terror, so you can see how they designed all the effects and stuff in the Tower of Terror over at Hollywood Studios. So you do really, really cool stuff. Oh, and it includes lunch at Whispering Canyon. So that's really cool because I love having lunch there. It's one of my favorite places to eat, really, on property anywhere. So as a former cast member, I got to see all this stuff over the years when I worked there. But you get to kind of see it all in one day. They cram it all in. 7-hour tour, a little longer than Gilligan's. Well, no, Gilligan's actually turned into 20 years, didn't it? So it's not as long. But yeah, so if it's something that you want to do, if you're looking to do a tour, this is a really cool one because you're not just confined to one park. You get to go all over the place. You get to see a lot of stuff, so it's a really cool one to do.
Well, what's neat about that choice is it was not that particular one, but something kind of similar was on my list. I just had to knock it off, so thanks, man. The tours in general, they have so many different kinds of tours that you can take. So it's not that one's a really cool one. That's like the Cadillac of the tours. Yeah. But there's some that are a little more low key. Like the one that I was going to mention, what I'll mention quickly, is Keys to the Kingdom, which is just at the Magic Kingdom, and you get to see the utilidors. Which, by the way, let me just you caught on to all my things like my extendable fork that I take out and my diamond watches. One of my things also is that when I need to look up a word, I don't go to Merriam-Webster. I go to Urban Dictionary and see. And I just for fun, while you were talking, Urban Dictionary does not have a definition of utilidor. So that there's a gap in Urban Dictionary. You need to take care of that, my man. When we're done with it.
Is that work like Wikipedia? You can enter stuff yourself.
I think so. Don't get me wrong. Don't quote me on that.
No,
But yeah. So
right now, there's somebody listening to this.
Yeah, I know somebody's going to hurry up.
There's an Urban Dictionary person. They're going to be like, "What? He's got it wrong."
We missed it. Yeah. So yeah, on the Keys of the Kingdom, you get to see the utilidors also. But what I like about it, I mean, especially with the Keys of the Kingdom, I got to hear all kinds of cool stories from the cast member who was talking about what's going on behind the scenes, how things were made, and the design elements, and a lot of things that I really took for granted as I was just cruising through the parks. Now, when I know the backstory and I know why they did what they did, it makes the experience now so much more rich, and I almost feel like I want to take it another few times to see what other stories the cast members have to tell and what other little things that they know about, because there's so much that goes on into designing these parks and designing the attractions. And I have a couple of friends who just told me they did a new one that's kind of been out only a couple years now, the Ultimate Day of Thrills, which is kind of like a 3 or 4 theme park thing, and you get to basically take fast passes for all like the kind of e-ticket cool attractions. So my friends Jim and Nicole just did that, and they said it was way cool. I haven't had a chance to do that one yet, but it illustrates the point. There's so many cool tours to do. I think that's an awesome thing to kind of supplement everything else that you have on your itinerary. And it's something you could do every single vacation. And because there's so many, you don't have to do the same tour twice.
Yeah, that's really cool. Disney does offer, there's really something for everyone with like the behind the Seeds tour over at Epcot, which is at the Land Pavilion, which is very cool. You always see those people going through too when you ride Living with the Land. There's always, you look in the background, there's like 10 people standing there with their cast member.
Yeah.
And then there's the Backstage Tales tour, spelled Tails, over at Animal Kingdom, where you go backstage and see all the animal enclosures. The really cool thing about that one is the way they have the animals in their enclosures backstage. I don't know, have you done that one, the Backstage Tales, or have you been backstage at Animal Kingdom?
No, I haven't done that, and but I know what you're talking about. I think I remember seeing a tour getting kicked off not that long ago, and I kind of thought, I'll wait till the kids get a little older, because mine are pretty young, and I said that would be fun for them when they get a little older to kind of get a. They love Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, that one has an age. I think there's like a 14 and up or something on. I think.
Yeah.
Because you go backstage, and what I found really, really interesting about that tour is the space between the bars and the animal enclosures backstage. A person could easily walk into it. It blew me away. We were at the Rhino, basically cage enclosure, however you would say it, and I could easily walk through it with I wouldn't have to go sideways. I could just walk I don't have very big shoulders. I could walk into the darn thing if there was nobody there stopping me. And they do that so the handlers and the animal, the zoo people, can interact with the animals but still be safe. But it blew me away. It's not like a, I guess I would think it's, I don't know why I picture a dog crate with the bars that you can't get anywhere near. It's not like that. And the way that you get to see how they call all the animals in at the end of the night for their meals and for to come out of the savannah and stuff after the safari. And they have these special bells and sounds that they ring that the animals respond to, and they know that it's time to come back to their enclosure. It's a really neat tour to take. And again, I'm going off on a complete tangent because that's not the one I was talking about, but really cool. The tours are very, very worth it. So if you have the chance to take any of them, the one the one I want to do isn't in Walt Disney World. It's in Disneyland. The Walk in Walt's Footsteps tour. That's my dream tour. I've been out to Disneyland a bunch of times, but I feel like we're always running from thing to thing, and we're only always there a couple of days. But that's the one tour I really, really want to do. Actually, what I really want to do is the Hollywood experience, the Walt Disney's Hollywood with Disney Adventures by Disney. You go out and you take a few days. You go to his old haunts in Hollywood. You go to the theaters where the movies premiered. You go to the Tam O'Shanter where he used to eat lunch all the time. You visit. You go backstage in Disneyland and do the Walk in Walt's Footsteps tour. That's what I want to do. That one seems super cool.
And then you hop on the TMZ bus and you go see where he used to live.
Yeah,
and,
right.
Yeah, that'd be cool. No, I know what you're talking about. That is a cool tour. I definitely would love to do that myself. That's cool.
The one house that he used to live in before he bought the real big house on Carrollwood Drive, that house still stands. And it's, it was up for sale a few years ago. Somebody bought it. And I remember looking at it on Realtor.com. It was like listed up there. And it had his movie projection room. And it still was the way it was when he lived there. So it had the old projector set up and the screen. So cool to think that he was screening movies before they were released in that theater in his house. So that's such a cool thing that still exists.
Well, what's sad is, they have a term in the hills that I've heard. I mean, I could be totally off. They're called LARPs, lucky blank rich people who live in a lot of those homes.
Oh, wow.
And what's probably sad is I hope this isn't the case, but it's probably somebody who just bought that house because they wanted the house, didn't realize who it is and the historical factor. That would bum me out. I really hope someone whoever lives there goes, my goodness, how lucky am I that I wake up every morning in Walt Disney's old house?
Yeah.
The history, the stuff that went on in here has got to be amazing.
Yeah, the stuff that he came up with, sitting at breakfast in that place, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's
hopefully
amazing.
that's what's going on.
And there's all kinds of places like that are now kind of national, or at least local, landmarks. The house he grew up in Chicago. I know that had a whole restoration going on.
Yeah,
and then the Laugh-O-Gram Studios in Kansas City, that they've been restoring that for a while. So there's a lot of places where you can go and kind of see that history. A lot of that still stands, which is really cool. All right, so we got to move on because we'll just talk about this stuff all night. All right, so you're up with your next one.
All right, so tell you what, I'm going to go for one that I have on my list that I haven't done in probably, 7 or 8 years now, but I'm itching to do it again soon, is the Dine with an Imagineer experience. So real quick, what you do is you get a reservation, you get together as a group, and you have lunch. I don't know if they still do dinner also, but regardless, it always changes. You got to eat at the Hollywood Brown Derby in the Bamboo Room, which is off to the side, the little private room. And what they do is they keep it to a very small group. I think my group may have only been 6 or 7 people. And then they bring in an Imagineer who's on site there at Walt Disney World. The one that they had for our lunch was an art director at the Magic Kingdom. And it was fascinating, man. The stories this guy told just blew me away. I'll tell you a quick one, and just to kind of give you an idea of what goes on. And, obviously you're having lunch at the Brown Derby. The food's amazing. I love it there. It's one of my favorites. But real quick, this is just to kind of give you a taste of what you hear. So he was telling me he had some buddies, some other Imagineers who were working on Tower of Terror. And when it was first getting built, they were on the little the elevator cart, riding it constantly just to kind of get it dialed in the way they wanted it. And at the time, they had these lap bars. Now they have the seat belts, but they had lap bars that went across the row. And they got tired of their legs banging on the lap bar every time they were going up and down in the elevator. So they just deactivated it, flipped it up, and they put they'd hook their feet underneath the lip from the seat in front of them.
Oh, my God. That would scare me to death.
So, and that's how they rode it. They were riding it all day like that. Well, fast forward to later in the day, one of the suits comes through, and he wants to ride it and get a sneak preview. So they say, come on, let's do it. So he gets up there, they lift him up, and it goes through it. Then they do the drop, and then all of a sudden, as they do the first drop, they see him lift up, up in the air, and I go, oh my goodness, we didn't tell him about his feet. So he's because it goes faster than gravity.
Sure.
So he lifted off of his seat, and there's nothing holding him. So they had to grab onto him and then wrestle him down to the seat and hold on to him while they kind of stopped it.
Oh, man.
And then they say he was white faced, and he thought, oh my goodness, I almost died. You're gonna put gas in this thing? And they said, oh my goodness, we're so sorry, we forgot to activate the lap bar. We didn't tell you about how we hook our feet under here. And so he didn't say if they got fired or what, but literally the guy almost died because it just wasn't, they didn't have the proper safety features activated. But it's so cool to hear that kind of stuff that you'll never hear just from cruising around the park for the most part. So you get a really neat insight to some of the stuff that goes on and how they do what they do. And to me, I mean, you're like me, really get into this stuff. You can kind of easily geek out. If you're somebody who really does enjoy the theme parks and you really are curious about some of the backstories and some of the neat little anecdotes about what goes on, this is a must do if that's how you roll. So I would recommend that many times over. And I don't know why I haven't done that in so long, because I need to do that again. It was so much fun.
Dude, that is a great story. That would terrify me. He's like, when you have you ever held the penny in your hand when you drop
No.
it? You know what I'm talking about at all?
So, I mean, to watch it go up in the air?
Yeah, so you're not allowed to do this, so please don't do it. Don't.
Yeah, that's not like...
if you listen to this...
Take this ball-peen hammer with you and don't let go of it.
Don't do it. Please don't do it, I say, but there's the penny trick. And I did this with a cast member on Tower of Terror, a friend of mine, where you keep your hand flat and you lay a penny in your palm and hold it out in front of you. And when you drop it, the elevator pulls you down faster than gravity. But since the penny's just sitting in your hand and you're not holding it, you drop and your hand drops, but the penny floats. And the penny floats right in front of your face as you're falling. And then as you start to go back up, it lands back in your hand. And then as you go back down again, it floats again. It's a crazy, it's amazing to think that that's how it works. And it actually pulls you down faster than gravity. That freaks me out enough. And then to start thinking that the poor guy was floating in the air.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Let me just make a prediction here. Right now here on the Ear to There Travel podcast, this is going to happen. You know how planking was a thing a few years ago? People taking pictures of themselves in the plank position. There's going to be a new thing called dropping or Tower of Terroring, where people are going to sneak weird stuff into there and then just take pictures of the stuff floating in the air. They're going to bring a laptop and a DVD player and knitting needles or whatever.
Do you remember years ago Letterman did a segment called Will It Float? Did you ever see that?
No.
So on the Late Show, David Letterman had a big clear, a 4-foot deep clear pool, and they would bring it out on stage, and they had this segment called "Will It Float?" And it's exactly what it sounds like. They would bring out this bizarre thing and see if it would float in the pool. And it would drop it would be computer monitors and just sandwiches and anything you could think of, and then Paul and the band would all vote and see if it would float, and then they would drop it and then see if it floated. That's what you just reminded me of because of the floating penny. Another crazy tangent, but yeah, that I haven't gotten a chance to do the Lunch with an Imagineer. The closest I've gotten was speaking to Rolly Crump, who I've mentioned 1,000 times. That was very cool hearing his stories about what Imagineering was, in the 60s. It's just amazing. So I really want to hear what they're up to now. I got to do that when, on one of my next trips, I have to book that. I think it's really cool.
Definitely.
All right. So, so I'm going to go with one that's, I would say, not the complete opposite of Lunch with Imagineer, but pretty close. So I'm going to go over to the Grand Floridian with the Disney's Perfectly Princess Tea. So, you and I are both dads to young daughters.
Yeah.
So we know how big princesses are and, or can be to little girls. And it's in my house, it's huge. I mean, the princess phenomenon. And even my son, I will admit, I came in the other day, he was wearing a Sophia dress. He said, "Dad, I look beautiful." I said, "Yes, you do, buddy." What do you say? I don't know. Yeah, you look great. So, he was wearing a Sophia dress and the Evie wig from The Descendants that our daughter wore for Halloween last year. So it was an interesting afternoon for me. But the princesses are huge. They're not going away. They're always going to be super popular in the Disney parks. So the Grand Floridian, there's several different levels of this tea that you can have. It doesn't have to be a tea with a princess. You can have, just tea where they bring, there's different price points. And the one I'm talking about though is one where you can go with your daughter or your daughters, your son, whoever you want to go with, and they sip tea. It's actually apple juice, and they bring out. They have like food, like tea sandwiches and stuff like that, and all different kinds of like little appetizers. And it's at the Garden View Tea Room at the Grand Floridian, and you get to have tea with Aurora. Princess Aurora will come out, and she'll have tea with you and your daughter, and it's really, really neat. And then you also get a My Disney Girl doll, and it's dressed in a Princess Aurora dress. So, your daughter will also get that, which is super cool. That is the ultimate in Disney Princess experience. I mean, they have the Bippity Boppity Boutique as well. Boutique. I said it completely wrong. Boutique. They have the Princess meal over at Akershus in Norway, which is another really cool one. If you want to do the Princess, table service meal, but I think this one with Aurora with your kids is like the ultimate in like princess, experiences. So if your kids are into princesses like mine are, that's I think one that you might really want to splurge on.
Yeah, I have a feel. I'm gonna sound like such an idiot here when I say this, but I think my wife is going to be doing that with my daughter sometime in the next few months. Don't quote me on that. And I'm glad it's her, and not because I'm not, very active in being with my daughter and taking an interest in the things that she does. It's because I would probably find myself being a super smart aleck at the table with the like. So what kind of tea would you like? You have any twisted tea? You have any Mike's hard iced tea? What kind of tea? Wait, I want some boozed tea. What do we got?
You're getting regular tea, I think, in that one. That
Darjeeling? Is that vodka in it? What is that? That's a cocktail I haven't heard of yet.
Isn't that a Quentin Tarantino movie? Darjeeling? Even with the price that you're paying for that one, they're not spiking your tea, believe it or not. That's a shame.
Man.
But yeah.
Bring a flask in? Is that what you're telling me? No, I'm not. I don't have a problem. I do enjoy to bend the elbow a little bit every now and then. But I think I have talked to people who have done that, and it's one of those things where there's not many things like that where I've talked to somebody and said, how did you like it? Would you do it again? And they would say, absolutely, I'd love to do it again in a heartbeat. You don't hear too many of the, it was a disaster. Because when Disney does that kind of stuff, I think they really go above and beyond and try to make the experience very special and to do a lot of little touches. And in terms of quality, they really try to make sure that the guests are getting the best quality that they can provide. So, yeah, I think that's such a cool thing that they offer.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, you don't, if you don't want to splurge, and I know this episode is all about splurging, but if you want to just do the regular princess experiences, there's plenty of them that you can do. Like I said, the Akershus, and then you can meet princesses everywhere. There's, the new meet and greet over at Epcot for Anna and Elsa. There's, and one thing that people kind of overlook about the princesses, and this is something we do with our daughters all the time, is there are several princesses in Epcot. You can't get fast passes for them. They're all around the world showcase. They have, Snow White in Germany. There's Belle in France. There's Aladdin and Jasmine. I know Aladdin's not a princess, but there's Aladdin and Jasmine in Morocco. You can't get fast passes for these, and sometimes there's kind of a long wait. I know for Snow White, we've had issues where we had to wait a while, but you can do a lot of that stuff, a lot of those princess interactions without going nuts and going over the top and spending that money too. I just wanted to mention that because it's not all stuff that you have to overly pay a little more for. So
right.
Anyway,
Good
all right,
point.
man, you're up with your I think your next one.
This is going to be a repeat. You and I talked about this a while ago on the podcast. Maybe it was like episode 230. I don't remember how many you've done now. Where we talked about Disney for dudes.
Yeah.
I think I stand by this, and I don't care how many man points I lose by saying this. The spas at especially like the Census Spa. They have one at the Grand Floridian. They have another one. Help me out here. It's not Coronado. Where's the other one?
Saratoga.
Saratoga.
Yeah.
That's right, Saratoga. And it was somewhere down that side of the property. So here's the thing. So I don't know why, but this is so under the radar with so many guests. Every time I go there, it's never crowded. And there's people there. I mean, don't worry, it's not going out of business. But it's not like where I guess you kind of expect everywhere you go on property, it's crowded. There's always a line. There's always a lot of people. They've done an amazing job. If it is packed, you don't know it. So there's not a lot of hustle and bustle. You truly can have a relaxing experience there without having that, hey, right outside the door is the insanity of how many tens of thousands of people are just cruising around. The prices, here's the thing. I think it's pretty well established that you're kind of paying a little bit of a premium with everything at Walt Disney World. And I can argue why that's okay. And I would be happy to have that argument with anybody. I don't have a problem with the prices because of what you get and what goes into doing what they do. So the prices, though, are surprisingly reasonable at the spa, which I don't understand, because there are other spas that are within spitting distance of Walt Disney World that are actually priced higher than what you find at Senses. So, and the quality is, I'm not afraid to admit it. I enjoy going to spas, getting a massage or, whatever kind of treatments, try to keep myself on an even keel. And it's really good. I think for the value and the experience, it's money very well spent. Now, if you're here at Walt Disney World on vacation, it may not be a bad idea to say, you know what, we're going to just mix up the routine a little bit. And maybe not the last day, maybe the second to last day, you say, we're just going to have a relaxing morning where get up, have breakfast, and then go to one of the spas and have a couple of treatments here and there, and then kind of use that as an opportunity to unwind from maybe a lot of hustle and bustle and running around that you've done and wearing yourself out, so that when you come back home from your vacation, you can really feel like you have relaxed a little bit. If you haven't, if running around morning till night isn't your idea of relaxing, I think it's a good way to kind of get there.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that too, because it's you hear everybody say that when they come back from Disney, like, oh, I'm so tired. Like, it was you need a vacation from your vacation when you go there.
And that's not Disney doing it. That's you doing that to yourself.
You're trying to fit everything in that you possibly can.
And can't do that. No.
You're right. And listen, honestly, again, I've told you this when we did the Walt Disney World for Dudes episode, and I'm not a spa guy. It freaks me out. I don't like people touching me. Like, I've always been like that. Like, I'm awkward with the family get-togethers with the kiss on the cheek. I'm always like, eh. So I'm not. I know I come off like such a weird person on this podcast. It's okay. I know there's people like that out there.
We all have our neuroses.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Okay, man.
So,
you paint like herp eye on your face so people don't go over and get.
Like, I'll take your word for it. I'm sure the spas are excellent. I've booked them for people. I know people love them. I've heard that the prices are very reasonable. So, yeah, I mean, I just think it would take a lot of Darjeeling to get me into a spa. To be honest with you.
And hey, funny little thing. It just happened to me today, actually. Talking about running yourself ragged. I was with my kids at Animal Kingdom today, and we were leaving. It was 5 o'clock ish, and I see this family walking in, and the dad goes, "Here we are, guys. Fourth park for the day."
Oh man!
And I thought, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like,
how old were the kids?
They were young. They were probably 6, 7 years old at that. And I was thinking, oh my goodness.
That's that family's going to hit that wall at like 6:30.
Yeah,
every kid has a meltdown at the same time.
They're probably high on sugar,
yeah.
but you got to crash and then you got to bring them back up, and that's not, in my opinion, no disrespect, that's not how you enjoy your time there.
And I used to do that when I went with my family, when we were my brother and sister and I were. My brother and I were kind of probably in our late teens, and my sister was probably 11, 12. We used to do that with my parents would say, "What do you want to do in your last day?" And we would say, we want to hit all 4 parks. Everyone would pick their one ride in each park they wanted to do. We would go from 7:00 in the morning till midnight. And you're right. You get home from that and you're beat. You don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
You don't even want to get out of bed. But so spas, give them a try. Maybe you'll see me waiting for Amy, my wife, outside the spa. You can say hello. I'll be sitting outside.
Like nervously waiting outside. Hope no one touches me out
I
here.
have the jitters. Smoking a cigarette in the corner.
They say, "How are you, sir?" "Don't touch me."
All right.
Just saying hi.
All right, so I have 2 more left. So I'm going to give you my. Let me see. I'm going to go with my. I'll save my best for last. This is going to be. My next one is going to be the VIP tour guides.
Ooh.
Now this is a super kind of expensive one, so you kind of have to realize what you get with this if you're paying for it. I mean, I think this starts at $400 to $600 an hour to get one of these VIP tour guides in the park. So it's the reason I mentioned the price here is because it's I don't want to mislead people thinking, oh man, this sounds great, I want to do this. So you've seen these people, these cast members. They're the ones that wear the plaid vests in the parks, and they're usually leading groups of people around. Usually, when I see them, I try to see if it's someone famous because, and once in a while, I've seen, a couple famous people with the tour guides. I've seen Brad Garrett from what's that? Everybody Loves Raymond. I've seen. I
almost said from Finding Nemo because I don't think that's the one he's most known for.
No, but he's in there. Yeah, he's in Finding Nemo. Yeah. I've seen. I know now. I'm saying Brad Garrett. Like that's the most impressive one I've seen. No disrespect to Brad Garrett, but I've seen. I saw Jerry Seinfeld. I saw Katie Holmes. So I've seen some pretty cool ones. But anyway, you pay that price because these VIP guides will pick you up in a Disney van in the morning, but it's not a marked Disney van. It's a regular nice van. They'll pick you up in the morning. They take you to whatever. They plan this all out well ahead in advance. They take you to whatever park you're going to go to. You don't wait in line for virtually any of the attractions. You see a lot of backstage stuff, so you kind of have to be okay with that. But you don't eat in the crowded restaurants. It's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime experience. If you can afford it, the cast members are super, super knowledgeable. They're the best of the best as far as the cast members that Disney has, because they interact with people that are paying this extremely high premium per hour to do this kind of thing. And the money that I said is in addition to the park ticket. You also have to pay for the park ticket and then pay on top of that for the VIP guide. But if you want the ultimate in Disney experience without waiting in line, without having to wait for a table in a restaurant, this is kind of the way to do it. You get the VIP tour guide. They give you a history about the parks. They tell you, kind of anything you want to know. They're very, very knowledgeable, very, very nice. So I think, that may be like the ultimate in splurging. If you can afford a VIP tour guide, it's a really cool way to do the parks.
I kind of pictured in my head. I've seen them driving around, and I've seen them in a variety of vehicles. Like it's like Suburbans is one I see a lot of them driving around. When you said the van, I've seen their vans too.
I was thinking SUV.
I was thinking like somebody's probably thinking, okay, all right, that's a lot of scratch to be laying out there. Picking out a van, I think like the A-Team van, like wood panels on the inside.
I know. I don't know why I meant SUV, and I was saying van. But.
Well, a guy steps out. He's wearing like cut off jean shorts. Says, "Want some candy?" It's like
I was thinking like the 90s. Yeah, like the character Stifler, the one that Stifler from American Pie played in Old School. Remember with the with the Old School, with the dart
the trank gun.
Yeah, that's the guy I think of with the van. No, I meant
got a dart in your neck.
I meant kind of like an SUV, and not the. Now that's all I'm going to think of is the.
But hey, you brought up a good. You had a good tip though about the celebrities, because that's how I do it too. When I'm looking for when I see those folks, those cast members trotting around the parks, I'm looking to see who it is. If it's just a LARP, lucky blank rich person, or if it's a celebrity. And I always thought, why does Disney do that? Why don't they put them in like cargo shorts and a t-shirt and a bucket hat so that they kind of blend in a little bit? Because when you see someone trotting around in that plaid uniform,
ultimately right away you look and see who's famous.
Stands out like a sore thumb.
Yeah,
man.
what's funny about that is when I saw what's really funny is they usually the celebrities completely like kind of dress down and kind of try not to look like celebrities. When we saw Katie Holmes, we were there last year at Magic Kingdom, and I thought I had seen her earlier in the day, and I texted my buddy who was working at Magic Kingdom that day. I said, "Is Katie Holmes in the park today?" And he wrote back, "Yes." So he was like, and I said, "Oh, I swear I just saw her." So later on, we're standing in Fantasyland by the carousel, like in between the carousel and Mickey's PhilharMagic, and my daughter, our oldest daughter, Alexa, is talking to this little girl. They're both in princess dresses, and they're talking, and they're having fun and laughing. And I look over at Amy, and Amy's just watching them do the thing. And then I look at the mom, and it's this lady in this big, huge hat, these big, like, comically large glasses, high-top sneakers. It's this really weird outfit. And I noticed that's Katie Holmes. And here Alexa is talking to Surrey.
To Surrey.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
man.
Like the mythical Surrey from Hollywood.
Yeah. That's Hollywood royalty right there.
I know, right? So we were like, and as we noticed it, they were walking away. They were going into PhilharMagic. So, but
and look, that's cool if you're not a celebrity. I'm not saying it's a bad thing that they do it, but I'm saying if I was a celebrity, I would not want that, because like I saw Jimmy Fallon cruising through the park and he didn't have one of those. He just had two massive dudes flanking him, and I thought that's almost worse when you see two massive dudes flanking a little guy. Like, interesting. What's going on there?
Yeah.
Goes, oh, wait, that's Jimmy Fallon. But yeah, they weren't Disney. I don't think they were Disney cast members. Those are the biggest Disney cast members I've ever seen. If they were, looked like they were linebackers for in the NFL.
When I saw Steven Tyler in the park, he had the same thing. He had two big, like, huge security guys with him too. I don't know if they're people that Disney provides, or I don't know what. Yeah,
he has security. He's kind of a wiry guy.
He is, yeah, he is. Yeah, Steven Tyler's an interesting looking fellow, that guy. All right, man. So I have one more left. I don't know how many you have, but you want to fire away with your next one.
Okay. I've got a couple just in case you stole some from me. Let me tell you what one that I like. I haven't done in a little while, but I do like it, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. Is the family portrait sessions. Everyone knows about PhotoPass, which is fantastic in terms of being able to get the photos on the rides, photos if you're standing around in the parks. They have the folks with the little vests on. They'll take your picture, then you scan your Magic Band or your card, and that kind of magically appears in your My Disney Experience account. But they also have actual fine art photography that you can do in some select spots. So if you want, you probably have to ask you, Phil, to go help them with that. There are some ways you can kind of look at it on their website as well. As far as I know, there's two different kind of levels. The one that I used to do all the time was the mini portrait session, and it'd be like a half hour or so. And when we did it at the Polynesian. I think it's like maybe four or five total of the deluxe resorts or resorts around property that do it. And what you do is you book in advance, and you have one of their kind of like heavy duty, hardcore photographers walk around with you. They set you up with some cool landscape backdrops or whatever you want in the background, and take some really awesome pictures. And they'll give you like a little flash drive. And so you have them, available within a few hours or so. But they also have like a more heavy duty portrait session. I don't know, it's like an hour or so long, and I think these might be like the A team of the photographers that come around and do this. Don't quote me on that, but I've heard that it's like the best of the best do it, and it's a little more involved in terms of what they do. So, but it's neat because it's, even with, if you're like me, I have a really, really nice DSLR camera that I don't lug around anymore because my iPhone takes good pictures, and it's just such a pain with the kids and all the backpacks, and that thing's heavy, that camera that I have. It's, a $2,000 camera and all the lenses and everything, but I just take my iPhone. And, I really regret not taking more really nice, high quality pictures. But this is a nice way to do it. You get a few really good ones with the family. They're great for, your holiday cards or hanging up on the walls. And I think that's a nice little keepsake to have for your vacation.
It's funny that you mentioned it, because this just came up a couple weeks ago in a podcast that we recorded. It is a really cool way to kind of get those memories out. You have them forever, and they have them at, like you said, several different Disney resorts. And I do think it is the best of the best as far as the photos pass, photographers go. I've seen it at Boardwalk too. I've seen people do it. I haven't done it. We should do it. I don't know why we haven't done it. We're in Disney enough that we should get some, because I'm just like you. I have a really nice camera. I think I dropped the same. I have is it Nikon or Nikon? Nikon, right? I have a Nikon.
Yeah.
I never know how to.
I was thinking I should mess with you. It's Nikon.
It's Nikon, right? It's like a D3200 or something like that I bought a few years ago. I have like 3 different lenses for it, and I'm a crazy person because I only get to the parks. Well, we're there a lot, but I bring it with me every trip and every day, because in addition to trying to get pictures of my kids when they're all actually looking at the camera at the same time, I take pictures for my blog and for my website and for everything else. So I'm just snapping away all day. But I'm not good at it. Like I'm very amateur. So one out of every 25 pictures I take is actually worth using. But it's a very cool way to to get a keepsake on your vacation that you can put on a Christmas card or hang in your house or something like that. I have to remember to do that next trip, because we haven't done it.
That's a lot of fun too.
It's cool, yeah. All right, so I'm going to go my last one, and this is the one that, what's funny is in doing a little bit of research for this episode, I didn't know how many places, how many venues really, where you could get married in Walt Disney World. It blew me away. Like, I remember as a cast member there was a few. Now looking at the list, it's got to be 25 different places where you can actually get married in Walt Disney World. I mean, all over Epcot, in Germany and Italy and Japan, at the Beach Club, at Boardwalk, in going back to one of the original places they started doing it at the the Wedding Pavilion at the Grand Floridian, where that one you can get like Cinderella's carriage and coachmen and horses to bring the couple in for the wedding. Just crazy stuff. You can go way over the top, have it like an ultimate fairy tale wedding. But then they have places now you can get married in front of Cinderella Castle if you want. I mean, that's the the ultimate of the ultimate places to get married. But there are so many places to do it. You could also, Disney also will help you propose if you want. They'll help with like any kind of special events. It's just really, really cool, the kind of stuff that if you're willing to, shell out the money for it, you could have the, dream wedding that you and your fiance want. It's crazy the kind of things that you can do now in Walt Disney World where, if you want to get married there. It blows me away. I mean, just looking at these things, if you want to get married I always thought it was really cool seeing the weddings on the beaches, like at the beach club and yacht club and stuff like that, and you can do that. And it's like I said, it just blows me away all the different places that they have. So if you're looking to get married somewhere, very the ultimate wedding for Disney fans, I think that's a very cool thing to splurge on.
Please tell me that one of the spots that have been authorized for a wedding is the Buy a Bride scene in the Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's not. No.
Like that would
be awesome.
That'd be hilarious.
Dude, that would be very cool. You know what it is? And one that I was really surprised about is I thought it was really cool, is the American Adventure Rotunda. With that lighting and everything in there, I think that would be a really cool like wedding and reception and stuff. That'd be amazing. I just think it's a really cool thing. If that's your thing, if you're a big Disney fan, you want to get married in Walt Disney World, man, it's like I said, you're going to pay for it, but that's why it's a splurge. It's a really, really cool thing.
That's a good idea.
I mean,
I have to make sure I mention that to my friends who are getting ready to get married.
Yeah, or you can renew your vows there.
Yeah. That's a good idea too. Yeah.
You and Mrs. Shortsleeve renewing your vows down at the Japan courtyard.
She listens to this podcast too. Darn it! Oh man, now you kind of put that out there in the ether.
Yeah, right. You're gonna have to talk her down.
I'll have to make that happen.
All right, man. Well, you said you had a couple more. So
let me throw one honorable mention in there, and this is one I think you dig. Some of this, I think, a fun thing to do that is a little bit of a splurge is some of the dinner shows. Specifically, I'm thinking about the Hoop-Dee-Doo Review. There's also the Spirit of Aloha, the luau kind of show at the Polynesian. Hoop-Dee-Doo Review's over at Fort Wilderness. Those are neat because they're family friendly. It's not all. First off, dinner theater is not something that you see much anymore of, and when you think about any kind of theatrical type of things you would go to in your normal life outside of something like Disney, it's not often family friendly, but this is okay. It's like your kids can get up and hoot and holler and have some fun. The food's good. The show is amazing at Hoop-Dee-Doo, as well as the luau. So that it's a little pricey, but again, it's a splurge. It's something that would be fun to try out. So something that, if you're somebody who's never done anything like that, that's a heck of experience to do on your vacation, to give something kind of neat for the kids to see.
Yeah, man, I agree. I love Hoop-Dee-Doo. You're right about, you said it's something that I'm into. I've done that show so many times. I love it. We haven't taken our kids yet, and I think they're just about old enough that they would all be able to sit through it and really enjoy it. And I haven't done Spirit of Aloha. Oh gosh, I feel bad admitting this. It's been probably 17 years or so since I've done that show. I'm assuming it's still very similar to what it was back then.
Yeah, well, and let me tell you something real quick. We talked about Christmas, and I feel like we're setting up ourselves for a Christmas episode.
I can't wait for that one, actually.
I got word that the Hoop-Dee-Doo players were doing like a dress rehearsal for their Christmas show, and I got to sit in on that. And I didn't know that they did like a Christmas overlay to their show. And I don't know if that's new or if they've been doing it forever. I just never heard about it. But that's kind of a neat little thing. If you've seen Hoop-Dee-Doo a few times, you say, I've already done it. But your next trip is during the holidays, during Christmas time. Try it again. You'll see something new.
Yeah, that's so cool. I haven't done that one. Dude, I think I have like 6 new things that I have to try on our next trip.
Research, man. And you can write that off, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think that's Iris. Yeah,
that's
man.
no problem at all. That's what my Run Disney races now, write-offs. That's all research. I write blogs. I do podcasts about those.
Gosh, man, when this episode goes live, you're going to have an agent tapping on your door. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I was only kidding about that stuff. I don't really do any of that off. All right,
everything's legit.
Yeah, right? Well, thanks again for doing this. This was cool. And I hope this kind of inspires people to kind of look at it. And, I think people go to Walt Disney World time and time again, and they don't think about these kinds of things. They don't think about these kind of outside-the-box experiences. Not that, like, Hoop-Dee-Doo and stuff is outside the box, but I think a lot of the ones we mentioned are or were, So, yeah, I think this can kind of open your eyes to that kind of thing.
And it's very easy to get kind of blinded by the theme parks. And don't get me wrong, I love the parks. There's so many fun things to do there. But it really is amazing when you think about everything else that there is to do around the property. That can, if you need a break from hustling around the theme parks, there's some cool stuff to do.
Yeah, you're right, and it's crazy. Like here's the thing: I just helped somebody. I'm planning somebody from a vacation for people from Australia, right? And they're coming for 2 weeks. And when I first heard that, I was like, man, 2 weeks. And then I started thinking, well, they're from Australia, right? So it's a hike to get here. I mean, it's an insane trip to get here. And then I started looking at all the things they're going to do.
It's like 2 weeks by boat. I mean, it's a long trip.
And I started looking at all the things they can do while they're there. And you're right. They have a lot of that stuff planned where they're not going to only be in the parks. They have things, they're going to do, spend days at Disney Springs. And they're going to do mini golf, and they're going to go, play real golf on the golf courses. And there's so many things that I didn't even mention, that we didn't mention the kind of things that There are tons of stuff to do, and you can spend a vacation in Walt Disney World and never go to the parks and still have a really, really good time. I know people that I'm in a running group for like fans of Run Disney, and people do that. Folks that I'm in a group with, they don't have annual passes, so they'll go down for a race. They'll spend 4 days there, and they'll do the resorts, they'll do the beaches, they'll do Disney Springs, all that stuff, and they have a great time. They don't even have to set foot in the park. So I think we've done a good job of kind of pointing people in that direction to on this one. So.
No, definitely. And you brought up a good point. We can edit this out and post later, but I was telling a friend about you, and we're looking through your site together. I couldn't find, I don't know if it's not working, the broken link maybe. I thought you used to have like a price list page, like for how much it costs for your services. Is the link messed up on that, or I couldn't find it?
Yeah, so I had to take that one down. We're working on that because
okay, that's why.
I kind of broke the internet when we said that the services are all free. So that's the issue that we had.
What? All that? I mean, you're talking about? Wait. You're booking the trips. You're booking all the fast passes. You're booking the dining. You're giving out the massages. Wait, that's all free?
I lost you at massage, but yes, that is all free. And I do look. Let's go the whole nine here. I get you personalized itinerary. Usually, I send out a couple little gifts for the kids. You get the whole fill package, which sounds terrible. That's going to have to be edited out.
What's the catch, man? Do they have to sit through like a half day session where you give them a pitch on a timeshare? Or
yeah.
What's the catch, man?
When the first guy fails, they bring in the next guy, and when that guy fails, I'm a closer. They bring me in to sell the vacation at the end.
Coffee is for closers.
Yeah, no. Listen, man, thanks. Yeah, it's a fun job. I really enjoy it, and it's I really like planning the trips, and what I like to say is that if you book with me, you make Disney pay money. So you're paying Disney all this money for your trip, but if you book through me, some of that money that you are paying to Disney, they have to give me a percentage of the sale. So while you're not actually paying me, you would pay the same amount of money that you would pay if you booked it through Disney yourself. Disney has to give up some of that profit to me. So you're helping the little guy.
Okay. I got you. That makes sense. Okay. No. All right. So I get it now. I'm sorry. I get the math now. But wait. But how much does it cost if they just want to get like a quote from you, just to kind of check it out? What's the fee for that?
Yeah, that's free as well, believe it or not.
What?
Yeah.
You're just giving it all away, man. Yeah. Holy smokes.
I know. I like shopping around and trying to get the lowest price for people who are trying to come down. It makes, why would you pay any more? It's better to go to someone who's going to spend the time to try to get you the absolute lowest price. And then what I do is I go back later and see if there's any, discounts released, promotions released, and I can convert your vacation to get even, a lower price. So I don't really worry about my commission. I worry more about, repeat clients. That's what I want. I want to build, a base of repeat clients who know me and want to work with me. That's kind of what I'm going for.
I tell you what, man, I'm hearing this. I'm thinking, why would anybody want to do this themselves? Why would you put yourself through that torture?
I would.
Somebody's going to do it for free?
It's really funny.
Gracious.
This is, again, we're going long, so I'm going to have to edit this out too. But it's funny that you mentioned that because after getting into this job, I've thought about all of the trips that I booked by myself. And I'm like, you were nuts. Why didn't you do this before? Like, I should have used a Disney travel. It just made sense because instead of having to get up and make my dining reservations and worry about my Magical Express and what parks are doing on which days, people like me, we do it for you. It just makes sense. It really does. Especially if you're, I don't know if I consider myself an expert, but I consider myself very well versed in the Disney parks and resorts and restaurants. And if you're not, and you need somebody that will do it for free, you can't beat it. Whether it's me or anybody else that does it, you can't beat it.
There's the value right there. Because if you're somebody who's never been to Walt Disney World before, or even if it's only been once or twice, there's so many things to do, so many choices to make. And I think there's a lot of stress and anxiety that can come from that, thinking, oh my goodness, this is like a big deal. This is, a very important trip. This is going to be a memorable vacation. What if I don't pick the right restaurant? Or what if I don't pick the right resort? Or and then dealing with the fast passes and all the reservations. There's so many moving parts that go into a Disney vacation, not to scare people away, but yeah, if you got someone who knows the game, why not? And not have to pay?
Yeah, I agree, man. And that's why I give every client I have gets a Magic Band cover with my cell phone number on it. And if you're in the parks, if you're in Fantasyland and you're outside Small World and you want to know where the closest bathroom is, I want you to text me and say, hey, where's the closest bathroom? Here's where I am. And I'll tell you, because I want you to have the experience that I would have in the park. Like, I want you to have that expertise. So since I'm constantly on my phone, I'm always helping my clients out. You'll have my cell phone number. Use it. Ask me, what restaurant should I go to at lunch? I'm standing here. Or what should I do next? I have 5 minutes. And that's what I love doing that stuff. So that's why I'm doing it. So I'm trying. I don't want to toot my horn anymore. So thanks again for coming on. I appreciate it, man. This is fun. And now we have to think of a cool Christmas episode to do. I've got some ideas, so I'll flow them your way in the next couple months.
Yeah, man. That sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, man. So if people are looking to learn and hear and see more from Mr. Johnny Shortsleeve, where can we point them? Where can they go?
Let me tell you, man, I am feverish. I mean, my keyboard is literally smoking from me pounding those keys so hard, working on a new site for JohnnyShortsleeve.com. And there may even be something called a podcast that's coming out of that. So right now, the best place to hang is over on Facebook. If you just search for Johnny Shortsleeve, or if you're hanging out with Phil, sometimes Phil pops my stuff up through his feed where you can see where we've done podcasts in the past, and that has a little link to see over what's going on over there. Lots of fun stuff. Every now and then I'll do like a live Facebook live video from the parks if I see something cool going on. Did one today from Disney Springs. So lots of cool stuff. Love hanging out and chatting with people. So love to hang out with you if you haven't already. Connect with me over there. Yeah,
and you're pretty recognizable in the park. I think if somebody sees what you're do you still wear the "Give Me a High Five" shirt? Or do you?
That's the giveaway,
and
man.
And the white hat, and you'll see
yeah.
him. Yeah, you're pretty recognizable. So if anybody sees you, go say hi.
My closet looks like Homer Simpson's closet. Like when you walked in there, it was just white shirts and blue pants. That's how my closet looks. It's no joke.
It's nine white hats all in a row.
Yeah. I told myself it's like Steve Jobs did that. He always had the mock turtleneck and the blue jeans because he didn't want to think about what he was going to wear. He got more important things to think about.
That's what the true geniuses do, man. It's true.
Yeah, I'm trying to latch onto that. I got a little ways to go upstairs, not exactly the coldest beer in the fridge, but you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to get there.
All right, man. Well, thanks again. Looking forward to the next one, and I'll talk to you soon. And that's going to do it for this week's Ear to There podcast. Thank you so much again to my guest, Johnny Shortsleeve. That one was a lot of fun. And thank you so much for listening. I know it went a little long this week, but I thought about breaking this up into 2 different episodes, but it flowed so well and I had nowhere to break it up. So if you hung on till the end, thank you. I really appreciate it. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. As I say each and every week, I'm having a lot of fun putting these out there, so I hope you're enjoying them as well. And all I ask is if you are enjoying them, just tell someone about it. I mean, sure, subscriptions on iTunes and ratings and reviews are nice, but word of mouth is so much better. So just tell someone about this episode. I'd really appreciate that. Okay, so here's what I like to do. Sometimes I take trips to Disney by myself for work, and oftentimes I'll be in the Magic Kingdom or I'll be in Hollywood Studios waiting in line for Tower of Terror. Because, I have to ride these things from time to time to make sure they're still operating right. I want to let people know the latest about all these attractions. I mean, it's a really tough job, right? So when I am in line, I often find myself in conversations with the people around me. So the next time you're there, the next time you're in line, whether it's in Tower of Terror or Space Mountain or even Goofy's Barnstormer, if you're looking for something to talk about with that person in front of you, say, hey, do you guys listen to Disney podcasts? You do? Oh, great. I have this one that you should listen to. It's excellent. This guy is super nice. Well, you don't have to say that. You can give your honest opinion about how you feel about me. Anyway, the point is just tell someone about it. I'd really appreciate it. Get the word out there. Thank you so much in advance. Remember, there will be a new episode of the Ear to There podcast each and every Monday. And there will be a new episode of the Ear to There Word of the Week podcast each and every Wednesday. And right here is where I kind of need like a really cool sign-off phrase, like Maury Povich. He's like, until next time, America. I need something like that. So if you have any suggestions, just email me at phil@eartotheretravel.com. So thank you so much again for listening. I really appreciate it. Until next time, have a great week. Bye-bye.